Hey there, I'm Megan Winkler, MBA, and I am a burnout coach, burnout prevention coach, and COO for life coaches. And I'm on a mission to help as many women break up with burnout as possible. So today's video is all about answering the question, am I experiencing burnout? Am I burned out? Before we dive in, I just want to remind you that I'm not a therapist and I'm not a doctor. I am, however, a burnout coach. So what I do is instead of going back to figure out, maybe why you got into this stress pattern or if there's trauma back there, that's the work of a therapist. I'm starting from right now, right here, where we're at and how we can fix it from here. So if you're feeling burned out, I encourage you to either reach out to your therapist or reach out to me privately, and we can discuss options for coaching with me. Or I can help you decide that, maybe what you really do need to do first, though, is go chat with a therapist. And you will be hearing some little sighs in the background and little noises as Pluto the magic dog is taking a little nap next to me here on the floor. So let's dive in. There are a lot of symptoms of burnout, and burnout is one of those things that happens very slowly. So it's not like you just wake up one day and guess what? You're burned out. That would suck, but also might be helpful in some of the diagnosing of it. So a lot of these symptoms will creep up on us. And I also want to be careful to note that a lot of these symptoms are also symptoms of depression. They can be symptoms of anxiety. So just make sure, and sometimes there's symptoms of just stress. So just make sure that you don't jump to the conclusion of, oh my God, I'm burnt out. But that said, these symptoms, if you're experiencing a lot of them, chances are you might be burned out. So the first one obviously is feeling really exhausted or just drained. And the way I describe it is it feels like the energy has just been sucked out of you. And it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how much sleep you get. You're dragging your ass around and you're just like Night of the Living Dead, Walking Dead zombies, and it's taking everything you can to get going in the day. You're not feeling rested when you wake up. Even after a nap, it's just like, it's not happening for you. You're still so exhausted. One of the other big signs of burnout is a decreased performance or productivity at work or school. Now, so when we started talking about burnout in the 1970s, and we started looking at what burnout might be, it was very fueled by companies trying to understand what was going on in terms of work productivity. And now we're looking at things like life and the unpaid labor that we put in and emotional labor and all these other things. And I have actually identified 6 different ways that we can burn out, and they don't always have something to do with work. That said, how your performance in work or school is something that's really easy to measure. A lot of times we can also see a decreased productivity around the house. So your dishes have piled up and you just don't care. Your laundry's piled up and you're like, I can't be motivated and moved to care, right? So it's this kind of combination of exhaustion and decreased performance. And also there's this disconnectedness that happens. So you feel very disconnected from your work or from activities that you used to love. Like if you loved to sit around and read novels, let's say, and you just can't manage to pick up a book, and you used to love it, that might be a symbol or a symptom that you need to look out for. If you used to love to go to the movies or go to art museums, or you used to watercolor, or used to love to cook, anything that used to bring you joy that doesn't bring you joy anymore, that's a good sign that you might be burned out. If you're experiencing increased cynicism or negativity, and look, I get it. It is so easy to be cynical. It is so easy to be negative about things. And I laugh because I know what that's like. I totally get it. And I find myself feeling cynical sometimes, or just like getting really negative about something sometimes. However, if you're like negative about things or cynical about things, like in general, so if it's not like specific things, or you're just like negative and cynical about everything, that's a sign that you're experiencing burnout. Absolutely. Another one is loss of motivation or enthusiasm. This kind of goes back to that feeling disconnected, not really enjoying the things that you used to. And again, these are also symptoms of depression, and symptoms of stress. So, if you feel like you're depressed, if you feel like you're in really deep in burnout, then, definitely chat with a therapist, because I want to make sure you get the help that you need. So yeah, you just don't care. Like you just can't get up off the couch, and go see friends when you used to really enjoy that. It's hard to get motivated to do things like running to the grocery store, or you put things off, like errands off and that sort of thing. Another one is increased irritability, or just being really impatient with people. So if you feel like you've got suddenly a short fuse, or you've got a short temper and you didn't used to, that's a sign that there's something coming up. If you're frustrated a lot more than usual, that's a sign of burnout. Additionally, oh, Pluto's rubbing on the floor, so you might hear some silly sounds. Additionally, you've got some physical symptoms as well. So some physical symptoms of burnout, and not limited to, but some physical symptoms of burnout are actually headache. They are stomach upset, GI issues, muscle pain, muscle aches. For me, when I was in burnout, I clenched my jaw at night and I was grinding my teeth. So there was just like a lot of tension here and a lot of stress just right here, like when I was asleep. So pay attention to aches and pains. If they're new, if they come out of nowhere, it could be a sign that, you're super stressed out and you're approaching burnout, or you're there. Another kind of physical, but also emotional, mental symptom is insomnia or other sleep problems. So if you're having a lot more nightmares, having a lot of stress dreams, that's a sign that your anxiety is up, that you're approaching burnout, or you are burned out. If you're having a hard time going to sleep or staying asleep, that's another sign. A lot of times when we're in burnout, we can't get our mind to settle down. And that's because we're in a continual stress state. So as our mind and our body are continually stressed, we've got adrenaline and cortisol running through our bodies, we're not going to be able to relax. We're not going to be able to settle down and go to sleep. Likewise, if you're sleeping too much, if you have a hard time getting out of bed, it could be that you're not sleeping well, and so it's hard to get up in the morning, or you just have that combination of lack of enthusiasm, lack of motivation, and maybe some physical symptoms, and it's hard to get up in the morning. That's also a sign. So big deep breath. How you doing? We're about halfway through my list. If you were taking a Cosmo type quiz and you were like checking this stuff off, and you check all of them off with a yes, then yeah, it's a pretty good indication that you are in burnout, unfortunately, but that's okay. There's ways to get out of it, I promise. Another one is decreased immune system. So if you're finding that you're sick all the time, or you seem to be more susceptible to illness, make sure it's not the beginning of the school year and you've got like preschool or elementary school kids, because that's, August, September, October, that whole area. We used to get sick all the time when my kiddo was much younger. But if you are more susceptible to illness and you didn't used to be, that's a sign that, your immune system is not catching up. Again, when our bodies are stressed, our bodies can't do what they need to do. They can't fight off illness. The body's not getting rest, and rest is essential to our physical and mental recovery. Another one is withdrawal from social activities or relationships. Like if you're just not connecting with your partner or your kids or your besties, and you don't find that you want to go to parties because it's just like overwhelming, or you don't want to go out to brunch with the girlfriends because that's overwhelming, that's a sign Feeling like you're not making progress, like you're stuck in a rut. This one is interesting in that for me, it is both a symptom of burnout, but also an indication that burnout's on the way, right? So like when we are in that point where it's like, oh, we're just not doing anything, we're not making progress, our work doesn't have purpose. It could be that we really do feel like we're stuck in a rut and then we start burning out, or it could be that we're already in burnout and we're just like, oh, what's the point? So it's kind of a chicken and egg thing, like which one came first, and it just depends on the person that I'm working with. Another one is an increased use of alcohol or other substances as a way to manage your stress. So for me personally, and I offer this as a suggestion to you, is if I ever find myself thinking, I need a drink, because that's such an ingrained message through, media, social media, movies, TV shows. How many times do you see or hear somebody say, oh, I need a drink? For me, if I ever hear myself thinking that, I do not get anywhere near alcohol that day. I go grab some tea or just guzzle a bunch of water or go make another pot of coffee, because I do not want to associate my stress with alcohol. And I do drink alcohol. I have a wine subscription and I like a good vodka martini, but I don't want to have that tied there. So if you find yourself saying, oh, I need a drink, and then you go drink, or you're turning to other substances to help you cope, that's a sign that you are in a dangerous level of stress and you could be approaching burnout, or you're already there. And finally, if you always feel like you're under pressure, like everybody wants something from you, you feel super overwhelmed, this is a sign that you're burned out. And the demands on your time and your energy have just become too much for you to handle. Now, the good news is this is a very long list of symptoms and very long list of signs, and it is absolutely possible and totally likely to recover from burnout. It is sometimes a very long process, and sometimes you have to be a little drastic. You got to really start guarding your calendar like it's freaking Fort Knox, because time is your treasure. And sometimes you really do need the help of a therapist to come through. And sometimes you need the guidance of a coach who's going to come in and say, okay, well, here's how we're going to set some boundaries. Here's how we're going to implement these strategies into your life so that you can overcome this burnout. You can move past it. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Be sure to like and subscribe so that you get all of these updates as they come in, all of these videos as they come in. And please feel free to head over to meganwinkler.com. I'm going to have the link down in the description. I've got a lot of resources over there for you about breaking up with burnout, overcoming burnout, kind of what a burnout coach does, that sort of thing. So if you're curious, head over there and then reach out to me via the website, or just, shoot me a message online somewhere. I hope this helps. If you are suffering from, or if you are challenged by any of these symptoms, I am just sending you a huge hug and just all the light and love that I could possibly send to you. Please reach out to me if you need help. Please reach out to your therapist if you need help. And I just wish you all the best. I look forward to connecting with you again soon, and I will be back with more information and more ways to help you break up with burnout for good. Chat soon.